Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. Coast to Coast, This Week in America. Described as a valuable human story, Destiny by Mahlon Palmer is a powerful message for young people and their parents or mentors who believe they have no chance at a successful life. The book is an engaging personal story of a boy who thought he was in that category while growing up. Mahlon Dick Palmer was the youngest of 4 boys, born in the midst of the greatest depression the country has ever experienced. He joined the Air Force at 17, served 4 years as an Air Force weather observer, no college education. That didn't stop him. He began working in the field of data processing back when that world consisted of IBM punched cards in the early 1960s. Fascinated with the IBM 650 computer, he quickly decided he must learn how to program it, and a 30-year-plus career in the field was born, programming virtually every make of computer up through the early 21st century. The design techniques he developed became the blueprint used for the next 25 years while designing systems for the Air Force, including those for Apollo 11 and Apollo 12. He then built the largest business system in Lockheed Martin that is still operational today. Destiny, his story. A little boy changed the odds against him to do remarkable things most people can't even dream of. Mahlon Dick Palmer is with us once again on This Week in America. Dick, welcome back to the program, sir. It's great to have you back with us.
Well, good afternoon, and it's good to be back with you.
Such an amazing, inspirational story, so much you've been able to do with your life. Let's start off by talking about the book and the inspiration. What was it that inspired you to write this book, Destiny?
That is a story that really must be told. It all began, whatever year. I had been home working in my yard for all morning. It was a very hot morning in the summer, and suddenly I started not feeling so good, and Barb took me to the hospital, and I had just suffered a major heart attack. And as a result of that heart attack, I was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, and they had me on all kinds of medication and so forth. And they had 3 young nurses that were assigned to come in and give me the medications, and more importantly, they had to draw blood because I had a major blood clot in my heart, and so they had to get that removed. And these 3 young ladies would come in every half hour to draw blood. And apparently the first time they were in my room, they must have asked me what I did or something. I don't remember that, but it must have been something that told them that I was interested in telling stories.
Yes.
And so they would ask for another story. Well, this went on for about 24 hours, every half hour. So every half hour they would come in, and the first thing they would ask is, what story are you going to tell us today? Well, finally, the procedure was completed, and they were getting ready to send me home. And they came in the last time, and they said, well, we won't be seeing you anymore, so you're going to have to write a book because you're not going to be able to tell us any more stories. My reply was, I know nothing about writing books. I've never written anything in my life, and so that's probably not going to happen. And that's where the idea came from of writing a book. And so finally, a few days passed after thinking about it. I told Barb, I said, why don't you bring me a piece of paper and a pencil? And she said, what are you going to do with that? I said, well, I'm going to write a book. He said,
That's
well, you've never written a book. You've never written anything in your life. I said, I know that, but I'm still going to write a book. So she brought the paper and the pencil, and I sat down and I started writing the book. And that's how it all began.
It's an amazing story, and we have the nurses there to thank for the inspirational story written by our guest on the program, Mahlon Dick Palmer. The book is called Destiny. Let's talk about that title. Where did the title Destiny come from?
Well, as I said, I had no experience in writing books. I certainly had no experience in titling a book. I had no idea what to title it, and I had really no reason to write a book other than these people that were telling me I should. And so out of desperation, I said, well, let's just call it Destiny. And that's where it came from.
And that turns out is the appropriate title for the book. The book, by the way, available at authorreputationpress.com. You'll find it the usual places. We'll send you there, the publisher, authorreputationpress.com. Destiny, very easy to remember the name of the book. And Mahlon, that's Mahlon, Mahlon Dick Palmer is the author. On the book is, I love this picture. It's you and your dog. Explain the significance of that picture, because I'm glad you put it on the cover. I love this picture.
Can I go back and add one more thing about the reason for the...
Oh, of course. Of course. Go ahead.
Hold on just 1 second.
Sure. The book, by the way, is available at Author Reputation Press. It's available wherever books are sold. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you'll be able to link on directly and get information for Mahlon Dick Palmer's book. It's Destiny. Excellent review by the U.S. Review of Books. And we're talking about the how the whole book came about. Mahlon, if you got something to add to that, sir, go ahead and do so.
Well, I was going through this process of coming together with the book. You asked me why I named it Destiny.
Yes.
Your induction physical.
So in that early period of time, I decided to join the Air Force, and that would have been when I was 17, and I had gone for my induction physical, and so they were checking my heart and all of that sort of thing, and I didn't know that I had any heart problems. Well, I discovered during my induction physical that I had apparently a rather severe problem with my heart and probably should never have gotten in the Air Force. But destiny struck again. Apparently they were desperate for bodies. So they made an exception and took me in. And so I ended up going in the Air Force with a rather severe heart problem that I should never have gotten in for, but I've had it ever since, and it's never been a problem since. But
well, another reason that Destiny is the appropriate title for the book by Mahlon Dick Palmer, our guest on the program today. I was talking about the cover of the book. You've got the title Destiny. The cover of the book, I love, a picture of you and your dog. Explain the significance of the cover of your book.
Well, when I was, probably about 10 years old, I had never had a dog of my own. I grew up on a farm, and we had dogs on the farm, but I'd never had one of my own. And we had a litter of pups, and there was one pup in there that was pure white. And so I pleaded with my parents until they finally relented and said, yes, you can keep that one dog. And that is where the dog came from. I named the dog King, and the dog was with me, and for the rest of the time I was home. And after I joined the Air Force, he got very brokenhearted, and he did not live too long after I left home to join the Air Force.
I love that picture, and we talked about that and showed that when we did a past program with Dick. And you can find that, by the way, if you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, in the archives, the YouTube version and the iPod or iPad version as well, the iTunes version of our show with Dick. There are several points in the book, and I know there are three that really you wanted to emphasize in the book Destiny. What are the top 3 points of the book, do you believe?
Well, probably the first one, I think the story proves that you don't have to spend a small fortune to get a big fancy degree.
Yes.
To get through life. Since I spent absolutely no money on education, that takes that one out of the running.
Well, I know.
Every time an opportunity would come along that I thought I would be interested in, wherever it was, I would apply for that job. Even though I did not have any knowledge of how to do it, my rule was you can always learn. So I would apply for all of these jobs wherever they were, and a lot of them were all over the country, and that's how I ended up traveling so much. I would apply for these jobs, get the job, and then learn the job, and then do it.
Yeah, and travel is something else that you talk about, being able to travel and to pursue your hobbies. That travel was really shaped a big part of you, didn't it?
It sure did. I got into the habit of travel when I was in the military, and my first, my only overseas assignment was in Germany, and so I spent quite a lot of time over there and got an opportunity to travel a lot in the military. And then every time thereafter, after I got working with a company and got into a routine, anytime they had an opening come up, if it had been, was any place that I had never spent any time, I would always volunteer for that job, and I'd end up going to wherever it was and do the job, and then come back home when that was over.
And you'll read.
So that's a lot of my travel came about.
Well, yeah, and it really, as I said, shaped you, and you'll follow that story in Mahlon's book, which is called Destiny. Mahlon Palmer. The book's available at authorreputationpress.com, other places as well. Link on to the book by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Looking back on your career and how successful it has been, how do you measure success? I know you feel like it's been a fulfilling life. Is that part of what you use in measuring success?
I guess I would have to say that would be what I would consider success, because I ended up going all of these places, and I have traveled extensively, whether it's in here in the United States, all over North America, Europe, Africa, you name it, and I spent time there. And each time I went to these places, I would have an assignment from to do some task there, and that's that's how I got to travel so extensively around the world.
And it really, again, shaped who you are and brings this contentment in your senior years that you've experienced. When people read the book Destiny, what do you hope that they'll learn from reading the book?
Well, I would hope that people would get the feeling that you do not have to go to school, high school, and so forth, and then come out of school and spend a fortune in getting an advanced degree in order to do anything, because that is not true. Everything that I have done that's described in the book is all self-taught. I've never gone to any classes or anything throughout my entire life. It's all just getting the job and then doing it.
And in the book, you will find a dose of history as well. You learn about national parks in the U.S. that Mahlon has in his book, Lewis and Clark Expedition, traveling, working in the Arctic, an amazing part of the book. And of course, the early days of computers. And you've got a number of pictures there with 40 plus photographs in the book. And in reading the reviews, it's the photographs that people really, they're able to hear the story, but relate to that by seeing the photos. So the photos were chosen wisely. They really do a nice job of amplifying your story as well, supplementing the story, don't they?
Yes. Could you go back and repeat that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that with all of the pictures there, the people really like that aspect of it because they're able to read the story, read the words, and then see the pictures, and that just sort of reinforces what you're talking about with the pictures that are in the book. The book is Destiny, by the way. Mahlon Dick Palmer, our guest on the program. A few minutes left in the program. We talked about what people can expect from the book. Dick, how do you think the people's lives will be affected by reading your book? Because besides all these great stories, you have a real important message here as well. What can people learn from reading Destiny?
I would hope that particularly younger people. I left home at the age of 17 and never looked back. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. That's the way it was in my situation. But you just got to make some choices and then follow through. For example, when I first got interested in computers, I knew nothing about computers, and I got some books, and all of the things that you see in there, I've learned from just studying books. I've never been to college. I've never had an opportunity for that. Never had time for it, as a matter of fact, since I left high school and went directly into the military. And I must say, right at this point, my going into the military was, without a doubt, one of the greatest decisions I ever made. That is the thing that built the foundation that everything that followed was built upon.
And then to think about the fact that you almost didn't get in the military, the story that Dick told earlier in the program, and it was a decision that literally changed his life. And if someone is wondering why they should read the book, you've got some very important stories here, and it's amazing. Just the early days of computers were so enamored with computers now and rely on them. Maybe not even enamored. We just sort of use them and take them for granted. Those early days were very interesting with computers, weren't there? And what you needed to know to survive in that field.
Well, there was, you couldn't really go to school at that time to learn about computers.
Yes.
Because there was nobody out there that knew more than you did.
That is just amazing. I mean, one of the great stories you will find in the book is called Destiny. Mahlon Dick Palmer has been our guest once again on the program. The book's available basically wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Author Reputation Press, and I know in your area of the country, the books are for sale as well too, Mahlon, aren't they? That they're available some of the places that you go.
Yes. There's like in our area, the book is available in farmers market. So you can find it in many places.
And online, of course, if you go to the usual stops, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Author, Reputation Press. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on directly to Author Reputation Press and get information on the book as well. The book's available in print and ebook as well. It is always fun to have Dick Palmer back with us on the program. Dick, it's been fun having you here. I know Barbara Putt has been with you throughout the interview and really instrumental in you getting the message out there in the book Destiny. I thank her for her participation in the program today, and especially I thank you for being back on the program once again. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Well, I appreciate all of those nice words, and yes, Barbara has been a major help with me in putting the book together and all of the things that are associated with it. So yes, she deserves a big
yes, and there's so much more than just writing the words that goes into getting the word out there, the book out there to the general public. Once again, Destiny is the name of the book. The author is Mahlon, M-A-H-L-O-N, Dick Palmer. The book's available, Author Reputation Press, and other places as well. The information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, Associate Producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, Segment Producer. Ben Watson, Webmaster. Otto Bechet, Director of Engineering and TV Production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, Executive Producer of This Week in America.